A senior official at the Department of Education just resigned so he can run as a Republican for a Senate seat in Georgia. Nothing too surprising there. But what is surprising is that Wayne Johnson's signature policy is student debt forgiveness. In fact, his proposal goes even farther than Democratic presidential candidates like Elizabeth Warren. His former boss, Education Secretary Betsy DeVos, has called proposals like Warren's, quote, crazy. So what did he see while working at education that made him a champion of a proposal that most Republicans think is nuts? Joining me now is former Department of Education official Wayne Johnson. Mr. Johnson, thank you very much for joining us.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
What did you see that made you become a champion of forgiving student debt?
Well, it's actually a program that's all-encompassing, and forgiveness of student debt is one piece of it. But it was a culmination of the research work I'd done when I was getting my doctorate, actually being engaged at the Department of Education in 30-something years in the financial services space. And I got a front row seat to see how the law that is structured to administer the student loan program is fundamentally flawed, seriously broken. And when the opportunity to seek the appointment from Governor Kemp for Johnny Isakson's seat, I saw it as an opportunity to step out, put my proposition forward, and use this as an opportunity to give voice to the to what I see as the need.
Do you think loans and student debt is preying on students, preying on their time of need when they want to get an education, or do you think it's fundamentally unfair?
Well, it's all of those. You know, people are at this point in life where they're trying to make great decisions. They're not necessarily able to deal with it fully informed. They don't have the time to make the decision. They've been told that this is what you need to do in order to pursue, you know, the American dream. They're presented with, you know, a financing opportunity that's they're led to believe, because it's coming from a trusted institution and also being supported by the United States government, should do no harm. Yet what they actually get into is an incredibly unorthodox loan situation that allows for the compounding of interest, such that you could start off with $40,000 in debt, and just because of the interest accumulations and the forbearances and the deferments, you could wound up owing $120,000 after X period of time. So you know, there are a lot of people that if that was practice was going on outside, it would be called, I'd say problematic. It would be a kind word for it.
Predatory, probably.
So, yeah, probably the more appropriate word for it. And what's really bizarre about this is that we're taking unlimited federal funds, because this is mandatory funding that comes down, not you know, not congressionally appropriated funds, and we're channeling it into these very unorthodox loans that build up significant obligatory balances even after people have made their expected payments. So 75% of the people today wake up owing more money tomorrow, even after they properly paid on time.
Let me ask you this, and your plan, just so we can put it up on the screen, you'd forgive $50,000 worth of debt, pay for it with a 1% tax on employers. You also want to provide $50,000 in tuition vouchers for students to attend college or for vocational schools, and income tax credits of up to $50,000 for students who have already paid off loans. This is an ambitious plan, one that's more aligned with progressive Democrats. How do you convince Republicans that this is a good idea?
Well, first of all, I am a Republican. I believe in fiscal responsibility, and when you look at each component of the plan, it is clearly something that I'm convinced that my Republican colleagues will, you know, embrace and understand. I think most importantly, they'll listen to me as somebody that is committed Republican and can be a trusted source to help them, you know, so to speak, deal with each of the respective elements. I think probably the most important aspect of this plan is the fact that I'm calling for, you know, no more federal loans, period. The United States government should be out of the student loan business, and the $50,000 go forward.
Private industry would do better?
I know private industry would be better, because they would add a level of discipline and a level of responsibility to the program. And so the bottom line,
has
you know,
private industry done a good job of handing out loans? I mean, they don't have a great record either.
Oh, I disagree. If you look at the banking system and what they've done with regard to private loans, student loans over the past decade, they've They've got full disclosures. They've got better interest rates than we have. They have responsible lending standards. And so the net of it is I think people need to go take a good hard look at what the banking industry and particularly the credit union industry of America has done in this regard. And they also have the liquidity and the capacity to take care of the graduate loans, because my program would basically get people fully through an undergraduate program. When they hit, the graduate situation, private student lending is going to have to kick in, income sharing agreements are going to have to kick in, and other types of financing for that are going to have to kick in. But most importantly, I believe that the higher education institutions and the post high school training will adapt itself to meet with regard to the funds availability. The biggest issue is we've got basically an unlimited basically demand being fulfilled by an unlimited supply, and there's no limits in terms of what people can actually draw down.
Wayne Johnson. Wayne, thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure.